Good day to you. I am approaching a dual issue. How families do their business, the family business of parents coming together and look after their children, and how kids grow up studying the best and getting into the best field they can. I will begin with a question a teacher asked me. There was this young kid. He was provided all he needs. Always there were maids attending on him. But he was inattentive at class and could not get him to concentrate on the studies. Then the teacher asked me what can be done for the child, because that teacher knows I am the director of the Colombo Empathic Learning Center, that I have written so many books on the subject and done so many science and reason clips on the subject. So I told the teacher that what has to be done is counseling of the parents. It's not the child who needs the attention and the counsel, the therapy, it's the parents. So that's the angle from which I am approaching today's topic, but it can be called marriage marination, how to keep your marriage setting, family setting as kids friendly, kids empathic as possible, as well as you are empathic towards each other. So what is empathy? We are designed with an empathic executive tract in our prefrontal cortex, where we think and do, plan well for ourselves and others. This is called top-down regulation. Then we are also fitted with or designed with a bottom-up regulation tract. When we get into peril, that it automatically kicks in, like slipping on a banana skin, or you hear a big explosion, what happens next? That's called bottom-up regulation. It works through the ventromedial aspect of the brain, right down at the bottom, just above your soft palate, so to say. And there's an amygdala and hippocampus quite connected to that. Why is it called bottom-up? What happened in the background, what stimulated you, the kinesthesia, the acoustics and the visual and the emotion, quickly gears you up for survival. So kids on the digital screen, I have told you this before, get into survival mode by this method, but we are to train ourselves and our kids to live in the executive empathic mode, top-down regulation of initiation, navigation, with the hope of successful good conclusion and the reward motive. The child who grows with the reward motive begins to expect the best out of every experience. Therefore, the child begins to plan and do the best to achieve the result. But this training happens in the home rather than in the school, because the child's bonding and the background track formation needed for successful education happens at home. Two different environments. The home environment is where the child belongs, and the school environment is where the child performs. So that's how it goes. We must know that the child's character formation, character choices come from home environment, and then that is the platform on which he builds curriculum and career. So parents are very keen on curriculum and career without providing that belonging platform, which is the vital contribution of home. So you always think, are we providing the belonging platform on which the performance platform needs to work? If not, there is a disconnection, disharmony beginning at home, because the children did not get the belonging platform, which is primary for identity and value. Then the performance platform sets up the child for success and significance. Without the home platform, the child cannot go on. Please, you need to address this. So here are I'm Dr. Lalith Mendis. My WhatsApp number, please don't call me, WhatsApp number for queries on this subject or to receive clips I have done prior to this is 076-313-4800. If you are from abroad, you need to do +94 76 3134 and my app, Golden Nuggets. Golden Nuggets is available from App Store or Google, free of charge. You can download. Point number 1: at each meet, be fully present and not be preoccupied with your own thing, your own last grand thing. Now, this is applicable for dad and mom for each other's sake. This is applicable when you meet your children. Be available and fully present. Don't be on your phone. So I always tell the dad or mom, when you come after work, as you're entering home, that's a sabbatical time for the telephone for at least 2 hours. Because that's that time usage for the bonding, return home, the joy of returning home, the reward motive children have of waiting for parents to come home. That's a very powerful reward motive at 6 p.m. At the time melatonin is kicking up and the sunset prepares them for the brilliant brain activity of the night. A brain does recuperation through dreams and sleep in the night. There's a very effective brain program where the glymphatic system, the glial cells of the body of the brain, removes the unnecessary extra chemical transmitters. Brain is full of chemical neurotransmitters, and even adjusts the brain axons for refreshing, and you wake up in the morning having had this dream weaver program designed by the Good Shepherd in your brain. So for that, the reward motive children have when parents return home and they wait for it and parents are available, you can catch up a lot in that first hour having come home. Please, I plead with you. Point number 2, and this is not only for kids, for you each other. You have been away from home the whole day. You make home again, though you have been very busy during the daytime. You make home again by this method. Point number 2, don't seem to be planning something else while talking at home. Applies to the relationship between spouse and parent and kids. Marriage is so only if it is your most important business. The business of marriage and business of family. Very soon, kids get to understand whether they are important to parents or not. Reciprocally, they begin to react with whether parents are important for them or not. So if you put the screen first, that will be their nanny, and you get what you give. So if you make the kids feel they are not very important, you will manage them through maids or drivers or toys or a lot of money, best school possible and so on, best tuition possible. But they also reciprocally make a decision, we'll manage without our parents. So when passing 14, these character attributes you inculcated by absence or presence, they become governing factors in the kids' lives. So point number 3, plan to give more than receive. Give from your strength. So in marriage, you have heard, marriage is give and take, but I am suggesting you plan to give more than receive. So I am talking not only about marriage, I am talking about the family situation that gets constituted in your marriage will vitally affect your kids and their future. Of course, it affects your own personality and performance, but today my subject is not that. Today my subject is how your marriage marination and family function will vitally affect the children's future. So point number 3, plan to give more than you receive. Give from your strength and receive into your weaknesses. Now teach this to children also. Celebrate for them for their strength, but when they are weak, pitch in to help them. So then they learn life is not all about sink or swim, not about perform or perish, being there for one another. You will model this in your husband-wife relationship, and kids will pick it up from, kids absorb more by role model. As they see it, they absorb it. You're already a coach, whether you accept it or not. At home, you are not a teacher, you are a coach. They learn from not what you taught or commanded, they learn from how you did it. They are picking it up all the time. Politeness, being available for one another, doing home chores, doing the little things around home, then they feel well treated when dad, mom treat each other well. So plan to give more than receive. Give from your strength and receive into your weakness. So the sorry, thank you greatly helps them to do the same. Then they grow up to know we have weaknesses, we acknowledge them, we don't hide them, we don't get angry with them. This is such an important thing for parents to show how they manage life between themselves. Children absorb that. Receive into your weakness. Make a checklist before marriage on strength and weakness, and even during marriage. So this fits those who are getting ready for marriage, those who are in their first years of marriage, those who are in midlife in marriage, those who are in golden sunset of marriage. At all times, recheck the strengths and weaknesses, what was strong some time ago, whether it has become weak. Then you inculcate that culture in kids for them to easily recognize their weakness and own it up, that they don't have to hide it, they don't have to cover it up, they don't have to pretend and become presumptuous little fellows acting like, big shots because they are unable to agree to their weakness. All this is picked up from home atmosphere. Point number 4, in the human body, each organ functions to capacitate, equip the other organs to maximally function. So in marriage and family. So for instance, the heart pumps the blood through the lung, the right ventricle, and lung does the oxygenation of the blood. We can go on about every organ of the body, how one functions for the other. In marriage and family, members function for each other all the time. So this must be established that you are not alone, but you function for each other. If dad and mom practice seclusion with your own screen and your own space, then the elder son starts it, daughter starts it, then the younger fellows will follow that, and there will be 4 siblings who do not know each other. How did they pick up that not knowing each other, isolation? How the parents lived out their marriage. Pardon me for being so direct, but that's how it happens. I have had to counsel many young kids who come to me in our empathic learning center. I sit with dad and mom, and sometimes they openly fight with each other. Sometimes I can perceive the animus that is building, that have built up at home, from which kids have suffered. Point number 5, self-sabotage is factors that work in you to disprove you. So they work against you. They are like fifth columnist in you, saying the right thing at the wrong time. So identify those factors that are actually crippling you, pulling the rug under your feet, and it enters your marriage at different times. You didn't expect that end result, but it was not a good end result. You did not know how you got into that argument. And kids seeing this kind of cold shoulder, cold treatment, cold family atmosphere, or a very hot family atmosphere, don't know what to expect. They will also develop characters like that, don't know what to expect. One moment like Vesuvius erupting, other moment like the Arctic cold and freezing. So please, let's identify those factors that bring your downfall, so to say, bring your crippling in your marriage relationship, which will have a very detrimental effect in your child's future. You have to attend on this. This is a time when 18 to 23 generation feel they are out of breath, they are out of resources, that their time is running short. That's why they are so involved in protests the world over, the woke culture, cancel culture, and so on. We have it in our own land in a certain way. I have done clip number 370 in the English language on the protest culture, and I have done 369 in the Sinhala language. I call it Aragalaya to Apeksha. Please, you can send me a WhatsApp to 076313480 if you want those clips. So that's 5th point is about self-sabotage. 6th point is about expectation of good reward in relationships. So let your child's expectation also be a good reward. celebrate what he has, help him to do more with appreciation and getting an improvement. So the language around the home is not condemnation, not fault finding. We can improve this, isn't it? So you have to get the child into the rewarded motive from what he had done. So children and adults work with initiation, navigation, successful and conclusion, which is reward, and well done motive. That salience, doing something to focus, comes with dopamine. The self-check, check back, well done, I can improve this, I have done this much. The rewarded motive comes from serotonin. And at family mealtime, I have told this again and again, keep it only for good discussion, for improvement, not the bad things. Before family mealtime or after mealtime, find some time for the mistake management time, which should not be at the family eating time. Family eating time, all experiences and conversation must be child-centered and all about improvement, how good it was, thankful. This is how the Good Shepherd will design our rewarded tracks. And on the reward motive works oxytocin. That's why when we keep chatting nicely, oxytocin is moving. Then when we have to get empathic to address mistake management after mealtime, GABA kicks in, gamma aminobutyric acid, where the child himself or herself feels that was not right, I must do it better. That you must get it from GABA. And that you create the environment with a happy meal, and then the child begins to feel, this is the time I must tell dad what went wrong, or tell mom what went wrong. So point number 6 is expectation of good reward, maximally using meal time for obtaining that good reward. Point number 7, expectation of last bad thing repeating is something you need to watch in your own relationship, husband and wife, and in your relationship with kids. If you are on a motive or if you are on a platform or mode of always picking holes, finding errors, and on a commanding mode how it should have been done, without saying how good what has been done, husband needs to hear it, wife needs to hear it, children need to hear it. Then what happens is you set an expectation of last bad thing repeating and a legalistic demand mode that nobody else can supply, because you get into a mode of nothing pleases me, and you keep talking that kind of stuff. So we don't want to go to the expectation of last bad thing, then repeating what happened some time ago, and you're always like this, that kind of what you do with your spouse, children pick up. Then the amygdala hippocampus behavior kicks in, all about an unpleasant thing. You're always in a reaction about an unpleasant thing. And there could be a sister who is always finding solutions in a problem. And there could be a brother who is always kicking at the problem. So you must understand your children, put them to help each other. This can happen with this husband and wife. One is always finding a solution in the problem, other one is kicking and growling and scowling and howling at the problem. So you need each other to understand how to make home best for your marriage and for the kids' future. That's my subject matter today. Point number 8, this expectation of bad things and always demanding more or demanding perfection drives the kids into anti-reward behavior, can drive a spouse also into anti-reward behavior. What is anti-reward behavior? When you have been needling so much, that person says, I will give you just desserts. I will also set up things so that you will fail. And because you are making your spouse to look as if failed, she can also set up a track in motion where you end up feeling you haven't achieved much, you have not done your best. So that's not the way to run home. Every time, come to before the sun sets down, let it be your assessment would be, we did for each other as best as we could. No home is perfect, of course. So remember that Children can set traps for parents to, and spouses can set traps wittingly or unwittingly. We get into a behavior pattern of just saying, ha 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 ha, you also got it wrong, kind of thing. And waiting to prove the point that you're incorrigible, that's the kind of thing that we don't want to have at home. Because we will find a child who is always demanding, fault finding, because where did he learn that from? Not from school. He learned that from home. So appreciation is so important, celebration is so important, never condemnation. We need to learn correction without condemnation. So happy meal hour to be followed by mistake management moment. Very important. Point number 9. Your mouth can pronounce all kinds of negative statements, put downs, invectives, innuendos, insults, bad comparisons to past things, bad comparison of your husband to you are just like your father, or about her it's just like your mother, things like that is always counterproductive. With children also, do not make comparisons of children with others. Your child is the best child. Because you produced a child, you are responsible for your child's present state of celebration or present state of some things that are not so good. Own the child's mistake, where they begin to feel whether you own the child's mistake or not. When you own the child's mistake, the child will come out with much more and is available for recorrection. When you don't own a child's mistake, because in our culture, success has many fathers and failure is an orphan, isn't it? So we don't want to be like that. Yes, own the child's error. Then child finds a secure base from which to get things right. So I commented about what you fill your mouth with, hurtful banter, bad comparisons. We don't want to have an atmosphere at home like that affecting dad, mom or children. Point number 10. Nothing requires more sacrifice than the physical relationship of marriage. So giving the best to the other rather than grabbing your right to satisfy your drive. More than people recognize, the physical gift of marriage is also a good gift from the Good Shepherd. It's to be received and it's to be given. Always on the basis, better to give than to receive. So no grabbing. You consider the other's satisfaction more than your satisfaction. So if you have the Good Shepherd in your heart, in all these relationships, at all these points, you will be helped. So the Good Shepherd has promised us, and he designed life and he designed marriage. And his provision was, or mandate was, be fruitful, multiply in your own life. Then get together to fill and fulfill. Then you can steward for others what you have done well. So that others will first involve children. Then you take dominion over your plot of earth that you have cultivated so well, so that outside influences that are inimical, not good, will not come in. So you be fruitful, multiply, fill and fulfill together. Then you steward what comes under your hand. Family first, children first, then of course your wealth level, your influence level. You may be just a dad able to provide for your family only, or else you might be an entrepreneur who has business genius and gift of handling money to have a workplace that earns livelihoods for 1,000 people. So at different levels, keep your plot, and dominion is protect your boundaries so that inimical influences don't come inside. This is how the Good Shepherd said it. He said, I will give you green pastures and I will lead you by clean water. Because in ancient time, green pastures and clean water were the resources. I will lead you in paths of righteousness. Then if you fall amiss, I will restore your soul. So there's a second chance available. And then I will, even if you go through the valley of a difficult time, his rod, his correction, his staff, his provision will look after us. That's the promise. And he will lead us in paths of righteousness, in professions, in businesses, a path that will not take you to crooked places, boulders, depressions, marshland. It's a path that He leads you on. Then He says, I will fill your cup to overflowing, your portion in life. And then He says, I will address your table. I will provide your table, furnish your table with all what you need, the measure of your provision, number of people that will be influenced by you, those who sit around you, sit with you, your seniors, your juniors. So that's the life table the Good Shepherd wants to provide. So it's a choice that you can make. Say, Good Shepherd, come into my heart, Lord Jesus, and this is the promise He has to provide for you adequately, keep you in the hour of temptation, the valley, and lay down a straight path for you that you do not slip. You can walk with your spouse and your children. Then provide for you a cup that's always enough, doesn't run dry. Provide for your table, life table, where you practice your life portion with others whom the Good Shepherd has brought into your life. So it says, goodness and mercy will follow me all the days of my life. So you expect goodness of God's bounty, and then mercy at all times. It's God's rule of law, is mercy. As you receive mercy, give mercy to others. I hope you will pick from this how to practice marriage and family, so that children's future, they pick up their character from how you practiced it. Thank you for listening.